Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Sounds like some bad movie.
What's up, motherfucker?
Ah!
Let's get that explicit rating right out of the way there.
Shit,
motherfucker. You ready to review a shitty movie, motherfucker?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic.
Hey there. Welcome. Let me get my microphone. There we go. Yeah, now everyone can hear me. Not that it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I keep forgetting to bring water. I mean, we talk for like 2 hours and I don't drink anything. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, I'm way ahead of you. Yeah, this is a sober Scott night, so you know.
Yeah. Well, you got work tomorrow.
Joy. What does that matter?
I guess it doesn't.
What am I? 17? Hey,
yes.
Hey.
It's funny. It's funny. In a recent conversation, Scott was telling me, it's like, what are we doing here? Are we fucking kids or are we going to work? Come on. and you're right.
I'm hitting that age now where like my response to every other thing is like, what are you, a fucking child?
You fucking baby. My kids complain less than you fuck.
Oh. One of my big pet peeves recently is people using the word fair. I'm like, fair? What the fuck's fair? Fair is when you're 5 years old. What the fuck is that? Welcome to the real world, where shit just happens.
That's right. Out of nowhere, shit just fucking happens.
Right, and this month, Halloween horror films happen.
Oh, that's absolutely correct, sir.
And we are diving into that.
We are, and what we're starting off the show with is a challenge, Scott's challenge to me, Galaxy of Terror, and my challenge to him, and it's not something I planned. I actually had this challenge before we decided to do horror films in all of October. Is technically it's a horror film,
right?
It's a mindfuck of a horror film, but it's a horror film.
Okay.
And I don't think Scott. Well, I don't think you've seen it.
Okay.
And I think this will give you an excuse to see it because I don't think you would want to watch it otherwise.
That's a good sign.
Not because you're afraid of the film in any way. It's just that you don't like where it came from.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You're not one to want to watch this movie out of principle. So it's a good excuse for me to give you a challenge.
Whenever principle comes into play,
well, yeah,
that's usually scary for me.
It's a little scary.
Yeah. So this episode of Moviesucktastic, we are reviewing the 1981 Roger Corman film Galaxy of Terror.
Yay!
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, thanks, Roger. Fuck.
And you know what? We're pretty much we're going on 8 years now.
Yes.
So we're experienced with bad movies. This film just took me for a fucking ride. And
Yeah.
and you know, when I challenged it to you, I remember watching this when I shouldn't have on HBO as a child.
I've never seen this before. And when you were challenging it to me, you were having me try and guess, and you said it had Sid Haig, and I'm like, I'm still drawing a blank. And then when you said the name, I'm like, I've never seen this fucking movie.
Yeah, when I was really young, it's one of those films I watched on cable because we grew up watching movies we shouldn't. Unlike internet now, which is completely full fucking blown.
Right.
And but it was like I was revisiting it. I remembered it being bad. I mean, I didn't look back fondly. I was like, yeah, that was a bad movie.
It's bad.
But I was just unprepared for it's. The problem with it is it's a space opera horror film kind of thing. It's like if you took Solaris and crossed it with Hellraiser.
Yeah, I can see that. Sure.
I mean, this is if the Russians were doing horror films in space, this is what they would have been like in the 80s. Just slow, meandering, too much metaphysical bullshit going on that no one's prepared for, and so much talking. Which I'm usually not against. Now, the basic plot of the movie is, I don't know, they're flying in space.
Yeah, and they're flying in space, and they end up landing on this rogue planet.
It's like a rescue mission.
Exactly, and instead of just, giddy upping out of there, they decide to stick around and try and hey, we should stick around for some reason. I don't know why, but we should.
It's a spaceship crew composed primarily of television stars.
Mm-hmm.
You got Aaron Moran, Joni from Happy Days. You've got Ray Walston, My Favorite Martian. You've got Robert Englund from Nightmare Before Elm Street, but I like to remember him from the Freddy's Nightmares TV show, so that counts.
I like that.
Edward Albert, who was like in every TV show ever in the 80s.
You say Ray Walston yet?
I did not say. Yes, I did. I did say Ray Walston. Now the commander, Bernard Behrens. Just
right.
80s. Sid Haig. Everybody knows who Sid Haig is.
Of course.
Now Grace Zabriskie, who
revitalized by Rob Zombie. People kind of forgot him, and then Rob Zombie just brings him right back.
Yeah, one of the many good things Rob Zombie did.
Right.
Now Grace Zabriskie, she was the mother of Laura Palmer on Twin Peaks. It was the captain, the captain flying the ship.
Yes, and you know what? She's your movie challenge. You're not
okay.
It's not. And I'll tell you how I'm challenging this to you.
Hey, tell me when we challenge it. Let's go stick to the film.
Okay.
I'm going to cut you off there.
Fine.
Now, the weird thing with her in this is she looks older in this than she was when she did Twin Peaks later.
Yes, she does.
It's I mean, how old was she? I mean, she was born in
she did this
41.
Maybe she was 40 years old.
Yeah, she was 40 years old. So let's get a 40-year-old woman and make her up like she's 60.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
And she's seen stuff.
Oh, she's seen some shit.
She's seen some shit. Look at Robert Englund hanging out with a chick. He's getting all cozy with her. It's like, yeah.
And is this before? Is this before or after V?
This is before V. V came out in 84, right?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that came out in 84.
Checking. V was 84 to 85, yeah.
So this is 3 years prior.
And ironically, I mean, remember watching V, is like, oh yeah, that's the Freddy Krueger guy. That's actually was made the same year, so he wasn't even famous for Freddy Krueger when he was in this.
Yeah, not yet.
It wasn't. It was just, oh, here's another horror film I'm going to be in.
And who knew?
Well,
Nobody knew.
Now, let me. I got that a little confusing there. He did V at the same time as Nightmare on Elm Street, not at the same time as this film.
Right.
Because this film was in 81, so this was before he was Freddy Krueger.
Got it.
Got it? All right. Now
Got
we're
it.
back on track. Anyway,
It's back on track.
boring people in space. Now,
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
The whole film was a ripoff of Forbidden Planet.
Yes, it is.
It's the id monster. Or, it's it. The basic premise of the monster or whatever is that while they're on this planet, their own worst fears attack them.
Yeah, this is true. And I'm watching this movie and I'm looking at this and I'm like, and I kind of figured that out, and I'm just like, this is done really poorly.
Extremely poorly, yes.
And not that they have an all-star cast, but they have some pretty decent cast members. It's like, and
Sure.
it still comes off shitty. Sid Haig and his fucking crystals. The fuck is that?
Well, like the Captain Trantor, played by Grace Zabriskie. By the way, she's crazier in this film than she is as Laura Palmer's mother. So that gives you a heads up there. Her big fear apparently is these aliens that they fought in this battle.
Right, and at one point in the film, she's in some real shitty simulation of it.
Right. So they come back. I forget how she does. She blows the ship up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now Sid Haig. Now some of them make kind of sense. Balon, or was it Commander Ilvar? I think it was the Commander Ilvar.
Wait, are we talking Sid Haig's character?
No, the old guy.
Oh, yeah. It's Commander Ilvar. Ivar.
Ivar, yeah, whatever. He's done in by
Balon is Zalman King.
Right.
You know Zalman King.
I know Zalman King.
Fucking Red Shoe Diaries, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know my Zalman King.
Yeah.
But like the movie's painful.
Searching for some black holes, that guy.
Yeah, the movie is so painful. But Commander Ilvar is attacked by creatures coming out of the wall of a cave they drop him down into.
Yeah, and they suction onto him. Not a ripoff of Aliens at all. It wasn't truly a face hugger, but it latched onto you like a giant leech and just like sucked your blood.
And here's the problem, is that half of these people, in order to understand their fear, you have to understand their backstory. And that involves listening to them talk all throughout the movie. And so, like, when it happens to him, I'm like, wait, I missed something. What is he? He's afraid of like, sucking creatures and walls? What is this? What's this reference? I was like, I don't want to go back and listen more. But it's really, it's that mundane of dialogue where, you're just zoning out. Oh, okay, get to the.
I actually fell asleep the first time I watched this.
Oh, me too. I had to go back and rewatch the whole fucking thing.
Me too. And even actually, I remember where I left off. Okay, and I picked up right from that point, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So then
I punished myself.
Then I watched it from the beginning again.
Yeah, I punished myself. It's like, no, motherfucker. Every time you fall asleep, you're watching this over. So no, please no.
I fell asleep and I woke up and credits were rolling. Dude, and this movie's only 81 minutes with the credits. But it is a hard 81 minutes.
1 minute.
Now it's a hard one to get through. It's as short as a Disney movie. If you don't count the credits, you're talking maybe 75, 76 minutes.
Yeah. Now the blonde chick who's not Erin Moran.
The fake tits.
Yeah, she's raped by a giant worm.
When that scene's happening, and I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, is it supposed to look like a giant clit? Because that's all I thought of. It looks like a giant clit with legs.
Supposedly, and who knows who to believe on this shit, but supposedly it was not meant to be a rape scene. It was just supposed to like suffocate her.
So she requested it.
And then like the director or somebody was like, "Hey, I got a great idea. Let's get a rape her." I know
who recommended it.
Who?
Zalman King.
Oh, there you go.
He's like, listen, we need to rape this chick. They did it in Evil Dead. I know that it happened. We need to do something like that too. Did you hear about Evil Dead? No, what happens? A tree rapes a chick. We got to rape this chick. This is Almond King.
That's a story that's told. I would have to do research that I'm not willing to do involving original scripts because for me...
I mean, obviously I'm being sarcastic with the Almond King thing, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No. You're probably right. But what I'm getting at is there's a part of me that says, the logical part of my brain says, you're not making an 80s horror film and not already planning to show tits.
Right.
So how does this suddenly become a rape scene at the last minute? No. Maybe they just didn't give her pages 27 and 28.
And they surprised her.
And then like, hey, you know what would be a good idea? So like let her think it's organic. I don't know. But then wait,
this giant clip monster is gonna just jump on top of you. Go with it.
It's just gonna suffocate me. Why there's like all these gallons of slime? Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you don't want to worry about that.
And that, by the way, is one of the reasons I remember this film from my childhood.
Oh, it's the rape scene?
It's like, yeah, what else is there to remember? Except that all I remember was that, Freddy Krueger, and My Favorite Martian. That's the only thing I remembered from this film from a child. And that probably explains a lot about what happened to me growing up afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. Not
good at all.
So she's raped to death by... Now, Sid Haig, here's where it breaks down for me. Because when you have a concept like, okay, their worst fears attack them, he uses those crystals, which are really like they're glass shurikens.
They look like Chinese throwing stars, but made out of glass.
Yeah. He lives by them, and sure, he says at one point, foreshadowing, live by the crystal, die by the crystal. But he didn't look scared when he said it. That was just like a philosophy. So does the planet just listen for you to say shit, or is it actually going into your brain? It's like, oh, he said something about crystals killing him. Yeah, he's afraid of those. So apparently it's a very stupid planet.
That scene, his death, is my favorite scene in the movie.
It's probably one of the best scenes, yeah.
But the reason why, there's only one scene in there that I love. It's when he punches his own arm off his body. Because I slowed that shit down. He's not holding a knife. He punched his arm off his body. He just goes, ha! And then the next thing you know, he's got no arm. We need to freeze frame that and come up with some sort of caption for it. I think it should be our new the wallpaper for the Facebook page, our cover photo. It's just he punches his own arm off his fucking body.
Start editing a new opening now. Because...
When he did it, I rewound it. And then I rewound it again. I literally watched that scene like 4 times.
It was almost as good as the worm rape sequence. I really.
I don't know which one. I'm telling you, when he punches his own arm off, I'm like, no way. I have to rewind this. And I have to watch it again. And I did. I'm like, he's not holding anything in his other hand. He punched his own arm off. And he didn't punch it that hard. But it was like, ha! No arm, gone.
So the logic behind the crystals killing him doesn't make sense to me. Now, later on, Robert Englund ends up fighting himself.
But I think you're right. It's just merely live by the crystal, die by the crystal. And it's just his fear was losing the crystal in some way. And that's what the planet gave him. And then it killed him with it.
Doesn't make sense.
No, well, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Let's just get that clear. I'm just trying to figure it out as long as with you is what I'm saying.
So the logic skews further with Robert Englund's character because he ends up fighting himself.
Yeah, I mean,
but then he only survives because he traps his other self.
Right.
But then later at the end, spoiler alert: Ray Walston is the master. He said that you have to confront your fears. The whole planet's all about confronting your fears. It's like, well, he didn't confront his fear of himself. He kind of like hid from his fear, like he trapped his fear somewhere else.
Right.
And then like realized it, and then it went away. So it wasn't really confronting it as much as realizing, oh, it's a trick. But if that's the logic,
it's a trap.
Joni was afraid of confined spaces.
Right.
And she confronted her fear by actually climbing into a confined space, and it kills her.
That's right.
Spectacularly, mind you, but it kills her.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. No, I'm not going to reboot my computer. Fuck off.
But yeah, it's a couple of things. As far as, and I'm not going to get into movie challenges, but one of the things was, because Ray Walston is the master, I was telling Scott before we started before we went live tonight, that if we had not done a review for The Last Dragon, that's what the challenge would have been, because of who's the master, just because I kept thinking every time they talked about this goddamn master. And then the other challenge that I might have done was a Zalman King film, but I was like, it doesn't really fit the bill for us. It's just, they're bad, but I was just like, eh.
I mean, the problem with the film is it starts with boring people with no chemistry talking, moves to boring people wandering around aimlessly for long periods of time, and the occasional death, half of which are quite boring.
They are pretty fucking boring.
And then it all builds up to the 15-minute end battle between Edward Albert and Ray Walston. When I think horror film and big ending, I don't think of Butterflies Are Free meets My Favorite Martian. That doesn't work. There's nothing scary or intimidating, or there's nothing up to that. And I think the only thing that would have saved this film for me is, you saw the film, you know what happens.
Yeah.
Habron confronts Kor, and Kor's like, I am the master, what is he? Does he tell him to defeat him, or just says he's done? It's like, whatever. He
doesn't just tell him to flat out kill him. He just alludes to it.
Right, but he's sitting there cross-legged. He's like, I am the master. I've killed all your friends. You have survived the challenge. Instead of this whole prolonged sequence where he's fighting his fears and everything, it was just great if Cabron just walked up and just started beating the shit out of him. Just the old man standing there cross-legged, just went out, bam, bam, bam. Oh, what are you? I am the master. Stop. It's just fuck this shit up.
Fuck.
All this mind stuff just comes to, oh really? Yeah. Bam.
Maybe Sid Haig can punch someone else's arm off.
Just shots him dragging him around and throwing him against the wall and shit. Oh, stop! The master is in pain. I don't know, but it's really there's nothing, and even the the backgrounds and the alien station or whatever, just dull. It's just nothing. It's such a painful film. I'm so sorry, Joey. I didn't know what I was getting us into. It's
quite all right.
Oh.
It's quite all right.
I have little more to add. I really do.
No, let's not worry about it.
I just it made me appreciate Sid Haig all that more, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
Now, IMDb has Galaxy of Terror at 5.1.
Right.
No, it's got to be a 3, at least. Can we go 3 on Galaxy of Terror?
Sure.
Good. And I just got to see. Males under 18, average 3 of them gave it an average of 6.7. Fucking kids today. What's the deal? Our age, males 30 to 44, 5.1, whatever.
Oh, great.
IMDb staff, 2 of them, 3, average of 3.
Really?
I can't fault that. That is, finally IMDb staff's doing their shit. But
they're just doing it.
You know what? And I just got to say real quick.
Right.
I keep seeing ads for this Designated Survivor TV show.
Fuck, I'm not even interested. I'm not interested in any of that stuff.
It's a whole TV show about the vice president who becomes president. Am I right in that, or is it like third down?
Well, what ends up happening is Kiefer Sutherland is so far down the chain, they literally assassinate everyone in front of him, and he becomes the president because they killed everyone in front of him. You know, it's like where it's, you know, it's like the president dies and the vice president becomes president. Vice president dies and it's a secretary of state, or is it Speaker of the House?
I get that. Yeah, something like that. But then it keeps going. Now he's president.
Now he's president, and it's this whole storyline of they did it because they thought that they can control him, and it doesn't turn out the way they thought. It's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah. Wait. Putting somebody in the White House they thought they could control, and then all hell breaks loose. We got that going now. Why do I have to watch this fucking show?
It's pointless. Pointless.
Are you sure it's Kiefer Sutherland? It's Kiefer Sutherland?
It's Kiefer Sutherland, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm surprised that the show hasn't been canceled yet, because I not that I hear bad things, I just can't imagine that the ratings are good enough to keep renewing it.
Dude, I stopped trying to predict that shit years ago when I said, hey, Beverly Hills 90210 and Elf, these shows aren't going to last. And never mind.
And then shows that we really enjoy, like, say, Titus, 3 seasons? Done.
Yeah, but that was a healthy run for that. But I've got a long list of shows I love that don't make it past 1 season. Yeah, because I don't have
right. But then, Big Bang Theory, it's like they're in their 11th season.
Oh, what the fuck is that? The unfunniest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life.
I posted it on our Moviesucktastic Facebook page, but have you ever seen the show? People, what they do is they take the laugh track out. And they play the episode without the laugh track. Without the crutch of the canned laugh.
It's like Will and Grace for straight people. It's horrible.
Cringe-inducing when there's no laugh track.
The
laugh track is there just to help you along. It's like, oh, that's funny? Okay, I'll laugh at it. But if you know what's funny, then you're not going to laugh at it anyway.
I give up. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked by IMDb.
That's okay.
What's your challenge to me, sir? And then we'll talk a bit about other horror films.
So I made a mistake with my challenge. And the movie that I was thinking of is not the movie that I thought.
Fuck it.
It's directed by the same person, though.
Okay.
Now, one is pretty much like a flat-out horror film. The other one has elements of horror, but is more of a comedy. Now, the challenge is based off of the... Here, let me get it for you so I can do it right. Grace Zabriskie, Captain Tranter. The character, you're not going to get it, so I'm not even going to give you a chance to guess. She looks exactly like the teacher from another film, but younger. But they have the same kind of facial features and the same eyes and the same gap in their teeth.
I'm already confused.
Okay.
Anyway.
The challenge, the connection is that this actress looks exactly like another actress in this other movie that I was going to challenge you to, and that's how I came up with the challenge. But that's not the movie I want to challenge you to. So the connection is going to be...
I'm getting whiplash here.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And the connection is going to be, this film deals with people dealing with their fears, okay? And that is kind of a subplot of this film I'm challenging you to. And it's about accepting who you are and letting go. Like, accepting this transformation that you've been given.
If this is Beauty and the Beast, I'm quitting the show.
It's not Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay?
Safe.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Now, the challenge that I was going to, that I've changed my mind on, is Yoga Hosers, directed by Kevin Smith. It went theatrical. The teacher in Yoga Hosers looks exactly like Grace Zabriskie. It's creepy. But that's not what I thought that this teacher was in this other movie. I got the two crossed. So what I'm challenging you to...
Well, hold on. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
I shared with you the pain I went through watching the first 20 minutes of Cop Out, and you were going to give me another Kevin Smith film?
Yes. Because this one actually falls in the horror category.
And such a great title, too. Isn't he so good at naming films?
It's not Yoga Hosers. It's his other film.
Well,
Do you know what it is?
You're making me watch Walrus?
Tusk,
same thing.
Yes, Justin Long has been given He's got to conquer his fear. He's got to accept this transformation.
So,
So that's your movie challenge, is Tusk.
oh, thank you, sir.
We can do it at any time this month. Doesn't have to be next week. Take your time. We have all month.
Well, I'm trying to burn through a bunch of horror films I've never seen before, so there's no reason why we can't do it next week.
Okay.
Now, we also wanted to bring some other movies to the table.
Yeah.
Talking more horror films. And if you're listening to the show and you're on the Facebook page, recommend horror films. I was supposed to post stuff on our Facebook page this week, but I've been tied up. So my apologies.
No, it's same here. So these are going to be more quick. Like, we spent about 25 minutes on Galaxy of Terror, which I'm surprised we did that long, to be honest.
Right.
So these are going to be more quick reviews of films. It's not going to be like the usual 30, 45-minute, hour reviews that we do sometimes. We're just going to bring up a film. We're going to talk some high points, low points, and then just move on to the next.
Right.
So do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Go ahead and start, since Galaxy Quest of Horror was mine.
Okay, so what I'm going to bring to the table is a film that I saw when I was a kid that I should have never seen as a kid.
Watership Down. Sorry.
No.
It's
a film from 1982 starring Barbara Hershey called The Entity.
Ha! Didn't we review that recently?
We've never reviewed it. We might have brought it to the show and briefly talked about it, but we've never actually reviewed it.
I watched it because it came up.
So, Barbara Hershey's character in the film, it's based on a true story.
Right.
Her name is Carla Moran. It's based on a true story. She moves into a house that turns out is haunted, except this entity rapes her through the whole film, repeatedly and brutally. And it's crazy. It's to the point of where her kids are walking in on her being raped by this entity, and she calls in this team of scientists and paranormal.
That always goes well.
Yeah, to like film and take pictures and document. And the thing is, the movie, it says based on a true story, and then there's a scene in the film where there's this image or ghosting or apparition, whatever you want to call it, and they say that actually happened. So when they took the pictures, it's basically just a white light like in front of her face and in the middle of the room, and it's like in the movie it's like almost clearly shows this person this entity, and it's like, dude, it looks like, actually it looked like Yul Brynner to me as a kid. I'm like, look, it's the King and I. It just looked, or like Mr. Clean. I just remembered like it looked like a bald person.
Yeah, this is the film that I grabbed, I think, last year at my wife's request, because she prefers her horror films rapey.
Oh, okay.
And best closing line of a film ever.
Oh,
welcome home, cunt.
Honestly, that scared me more than the whole film.
Yeah.
Because they had that. It's like, well, did that just happen? Was that in the film, or is that behind me? What the fuck was that?
And then, of course, they throw up the blurbs. It said, and although when she moved into the new house, the rapes were less frequent, but still happened. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like it followed her? Like how is that even possible? I thought entities and ghosts and apparitions and all that garbage, they're kind of tied to the dwelling of where you find them.
Did you learn nothing from Paranormal Activity, sir?
Well, no, I didn't learn anything at all, actually.
Neither did they. It's okay.
But it's just like, holy shit, this thing following around. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they're in the house and you just hear this this noise, and then anytime there's any kind of build up tension or whatever, it's almost like like you're in a German club before that was popular. It's like some club owner, some what's it called? What is that shit? DRM, not DRM. It's that type of club music where it's basically just bass and drops and all that stuff. Anyway, it's like
I'm
someone.
not hip. I can't tell you.
I don't know either, but I just know that it's very popular amongst the young kids these days.
Amongst the hooligans.
Yeah, and someone out there is screaming at me. It's like, it's blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I don't care what it's called. I just know that it's called some sort of digital music of some kind. Anyway, it's like someone saw that movie and said, man, I could turn that into like a real hot beat. But anytime there's anything, it's like, dish, 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 dish. Like that's the noise. And it just gets louder and louder and louder until you just want it to, like, please make it stop. And I think what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to make you feel like you're being raped. I mean, your eyes are, first of all.
But in a fun way.
Yeah. So that music starts kicking into, and then they're all like going through the house, and the kid goes in the crawl space, and she's like, don't do it, and he's like, it's all right, and he's crawling through, and then the music kind of slows down and fades out, and then he starts pushing on the pipe. There's a pipe under the house, and it goes, and he's like, oh, see, it's just the pipe, and she's like, well, who touched the pipe? Because it's under the house. It's like, yeah, I get that the pipe is making the noise, but who was touching it to make that noise? Because it was a heavy pipe. And then he just looks at her, and then the scene fades. And it's just like, oh, fuck. And then throughout the whole film, anytime she's being raped, anytime any tension is happening, it's that fucking crazy deep bass music. And I remember seeing this as a kid. And my parents were very liberal with this shit. And I've brought it up on the show many, many times. It has to be their European upbringing that they were just so lax with this stuff. But my mother knew of this film and she wouldn't let me watch it. So my bedroom was across from what was right next to the living room. So they're watching this movie, and I watched this whole movie through a crack in the door. They didn't know I saw the film, but that's how I watched the whole movie.
You
Well,
disgust me.
I mean, if they wanted me not to watch it, they should have closed the door.
If she didn't want to be raped by the ghost, she just,
yeah,
she shouldn't have been dressed that way.
that's right. She had it coming. But anyway, that's how I watched the film. It's the only time my parents were ever, or at least my mother, was like, you can't watch this. And I'm like, but I want to. No, you can't watch this one. This one you can't. And I watched it anyway, just through the crack in my door.
Yeah, it was a cross between Amityville Horror and Behind the Green Door. No. A cross between Amityville Horror and I can't think of a rapey film.
A rapey movie.
I spit on your grave.
Spit on your grave.
Without
Salo. 120 Days of Sodom.
I wouldn't go that far, please.
It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Should I be dancing, or should I don't know what's happening.
I love the. What year was that? Was that 70s or 80s?
The Entity came out in 1982.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Those early 80s films, there was no, like, they based on a true story, and nobody said, hey, can we, like, give it a happy ending or something? Said, no. We stay with the harsh reality. She was raped the rest of her life by a ghost. Jesus! That's like the beginning of the story.
Right.
I mean, come on. So I like if they remade that now, they'd play it coy. They wouldn't come out and
they would probably try and make it sexy somehow.
Oh God.
I don't know. It's just like they would get like a really attractive woman.
God.
And they'd probably have her like in the doggy style position.
Wheezy there.
Well, I'm just saying, it's just like she wouldn't be able to move. Maybe she gets stuck in a window.
Uh-huh.
I'm cleaning the oven and I can't get out.
I've seen those, yeah.
Oh, I reached out the window to go clean, or plant some flowers in the planter on the outside of the house, and I got stuck.
I see we're visiting the same websites. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna segue from that into.
You know which one I saw not that long ago? There's
don't.
There's this woman, right? And she has one shoe on, and she can't find the other. And she's looking all over the place. She's looking in the closet. She's looking, she's looking in the hallway. She gets into the bedroom and she sees it. She sees it under the bed. So she crawls under the bed to go get it, and she can't get out.
Okay, all right. This is not the film we should be reviewing, but yes, I know what you're talking about too. The sad part is I know what you're talking about. I'm going to. You know what's weird?
Oh,
it's like
here's the scene where Sid Haig punches his own arm off. So I want to slow down for a second. I want to talk everyone through this scene. All right, so he's got a piece of the crystal. It's going up his arm. It's obviously a piece of latex, but it's still cool looking. All right. So now it's traveling up his arm, and he's like, ah! So he's got nothing in his other hand. Nothing. And he just lifts his other hand straight up and punches it off. And it's a clean cut, too. It's like he had to have had a knife or a machete. No. Nothing. He punched his own arm off his own fucking body.
Probably wasn't the intention, but...
It's so great.
I gotta briefly touch on what you were talking about a minute ago.
I'm sorry.
I political podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about this whole thing with Jared Kushner, where a prankster was contacting his lawyer or somebody, pretending to be Jared Kushner and claiming that the emails that were coming from his personal account that other people have got had links to fetish porn on them. And he's described the guy in the political talk show host, the Bob Seska show. Okay. I recommend it. But he's saying how he was describing these things with with women stepping on Lego buildings, and I think it was that fetish. I think it's called gigantorous. And I'm just driving. I'm not thinking it was giantesses. It's the giantesses. It's and then there's a pause. I shouldn't know that. That shouldn't be right off the top of my head. It really shouldn't be. And the next episode, he corrects himself. Says apparently it was giantess. It's
yeah. I've never heard of that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no. See, I've gone further down the hole than the Lost Shoe video. So
well, I won't deny that.
So, speaking of Kevin Smith,
I mean the hole is pretty. It's pretty deep. I've been in there, but I didn't know anything about the Lego fetish.
It goes deeper.
Although I've told my wife, some weird fetishes. It's will come up on a talk show or TV or whatever, and she's like, "That's a fetish." I go, "Babe, there's a fetish for fucking everything." I told her, I go, "Think of something weird, right now. The weirdest thing you can think of. There's probably a fetish for it, and if there isn't, there will be."
Yeah,
it's the way it works.
It's not a perfect system.
No, certainly.
So
not.
Speaking of Kevin Smith,
yes.
One of the horror films I watched this past week is the horror film Holidays.
Oh, I don't know that.
It came out. Yeah, I gotta
Kevin
get the
Smith
date.
have something to do with that?
2016. I'm getting there. This came out last year. It's an anthology horror film about
what?
Holidays. I thought you'd jump in there.
Yeah, I was half paying attention. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's an anthology horror film, which I really think the anthology horror films caught an upswing when VHS came out.
I think you're right. So
I mean, they've always made them. I mean, they were making them back in the 70s, but I think VHS really kind of breathed some growth. It kind of puts some new life into it.
Right.
And so they've been coming out, a lot of them. This one's called Holidays, and it's about different holidays.
Well, what are the holidays? Do they do the three big ones? Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas?
I want to stress something that's bothered me with a lot of these anthology films. The horror. And this is specifically horror anthology.
Do tell.
The problem is they're getting, instead of the old days where Tales of the Crypt was 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah. So
each one had a good 20 minutes and they would tell an entire story. It was like watching an episode of a TV show. It was everything. VHS kind of did the same thing too. It weren't that many. Some were shorter than others.
Yeah, 3 to 4 parts in VHS.
ABCs of Death started this trend, I believe. I'm probably wrong, but that's when I first noticed it. If you probably haven't seen ABCs of Death. They made a sequel too.
I've seen ABCs of Death.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw that a long time ago.
Right. Okay. Now,
I haven't
tell me
seen it
if
in a
you're
long time, but I've seen
tell
it.
me if your experience is the same as mine. I watched the beginning of it with for the first one, the A, and I was like, "Wow, this is great. This is fucking awesome." 25 short films later, like, what the fuck is this shit? Only good one was A.
Yeah.
But the problem is, so they all these filmmakers say, "Okay, make me like a 5-minute short." What are you to fucking do in 5 minutes? And a lot of these anthology show horror a lot of these horror anthologies are doing the same thing now, where instead of doing 2 or 3 like that Christmas one I recommended to you last year.
Actually,
Christmas.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that it had 2 or 3 main stories, and then it had the wraparound story that kind of intertwined and connected everything.
Right.
This is just okay. Our theme's holidays. We're going to give you we're going to throw like 7 or 8 fucking short films at you. They're going to be like 10 minutes in length, so there's not enough time to do it. It's basically watching a short film convention.
You know, and I believe, and this is just my own theory, they're catering to people's short attention span.
I think it's just.
Think about it. I mean, it's like, okay, you didn't like this one? Here's another one, 10 more minutes. You don't like that one? Here's another one, 10 more minutes.
I don't think it's. I slightly disagree. I don't think it has to do with attention span as much as if you throw enough shit at the screen, some of it will stick. So if I watch this, I'm going to enjoy it as I did some of them. So I'm not going to say it was a bad film. I'm going to say, oh, it was good. And there were some good parts, bad parts. This whole kind of hit or miss thing, and it's this film too is like one of those things where the first one was Valentine's Day. I thought it was cute. It had a kind of a creep show feel to it.
Okay.
All right. Then we went on to St. Patrick's Day, which was quirky and interesting, and here's the problem: most of them they don't even bother trying to end the short.
Really? Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Now the Valentine's Day one was great. It had a punchline. It had the setup. It had the delivery. It was like St. Patrick's Day is like here's a premise. We're gonna go with it. Just throw whatever. Have them dance around. What the fuck? Yeah. At least half of the films are like that. What's really painful is one of them is called Father's Day. It has a really cool gimmick to it, or plot device, so to speak.
Okay.
And it's beautifully filmed. Sustains the tension and everything wonderfully. I thought it was excellent up until the point where they just said, you know what, we're not going to give it an ending. Oh,
really?
We're just gonna. That's my take. You may see it differently, but I was like, it's about. Oh, let's just do this and then we're done. What? Yeah, there's no idea how to fucking end it. Seth Green's in it. He does a Christmas one that's kind of cute. Lighthearted one.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, I would do it. And then there's the one that Kevin Smith did.
Oh no.
And everything I usually expect to receive from Kevin Smith, I received in his short for Halloween, which was bad dialogue, a shitty idea, and this kind of self-aware, self-deprecating hipness.
Oh no.
It's just fucking... And he likes to get a lot of hot girls to read dialogue, and they can't fucking act, and he can't fucking write dialogue for shit, and he doesn't know the first thing about fucking horror films. Obviously. Fuck Kevin Smith once again.
I think our episode of Tusk is going to be a good one.
Well, you know what? I will stop telling him to go fuck himself when he stops making shit and start actually living up to the potential that he showed way back with Clerks.
Sure. Hell,
motherfucker.
Even Chasing Amy. I mean, that's probably the best film he ever did.
Well, yeah, but that is his best film. But I mean, like he showed all this potential, and then it's like, I'll just do this shit. It's the worst part. It's the worst segment in Holidays.
Is the Kevin Smith one?
Is the Kevin Smith one,
Jeez.
and that's up against a couple of stiff competitors.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, it's overall, it's worth seeing for some of the shorts. But just be prepared to, if you start fast forwarding past one or two of them, don't feel guilty. Oh, and the weirdest one is Mother's Day. It's one of these shorts that honestly would have been better as a full length film,
Really? Okay.
But in its current state, it feels like a student film.
I got
It's just meandering and pointless. If it was almost like, well, we don't have time to build any kind of suspense, so we'll just do this. And it's like it was an interesting concept. I would have rather seen that as like an hour and a half long, low budget horror film than the form it was in. And the Easter one's great.
The Easter one's good. Cool.
Yes, because it's sacrilegious.
Okay. So Jesus is involved. Great.
Yeah, but well, it's Easter.
Well, duh. Well, it could just be a giant bunny rabbit killing people, but you said it's good, so.
Yeah. But it's not a great film, and again, but as far as anthologies go, it's okay.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. Maybe it's something I can get the wife, the missus, to watch with me.
Please let me know if you disagree about the Kevin Smith scene.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So what do I got? What am I gonna bring to the table here? All right. So here's a film that you saw, and I just recently saw.
No table, by the way. We have 2 desks, and we're not in the same room. There's no table. We have no table.
No table.
No table.
Nothing. What does that
Sorry.
mean? We have no
Anyway.
table. What does that even mean?
We keep saying bring it to the table. There's no table to bring it to.
I didn't realize I said it. I was confused.
You said like 3 times.
I know. And I didn't realize I even said it because when you're talking about there's no table. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
Sad part is I probably used it first, and you probably just picked it up from me. So.
You never know. I don't know. It's in my wheelhouse of vocabulary words.
What's next, Mr.
Anyway,
Wheelhouse?
you've seen this. I just saw it, and it's a film from last year called The Babadook.
Yeah.
The Babadook.
Fucking just a great fucking movie.
It is a great fucking movie, and I guess what I should really be asking right off the bat is, we doing spoiler alert on this?
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Okay,
we're going to talk a little bit about the ending, or the meaning behind it, and no, it has nothing to do with homosexuality.
Okay.
Stop reading. Just get away from the internet.
Yeah,
it's not fucking helping you.
Well, the whole reason why that happened was because it was accidentally categorized as an LGBTQ film.
Yeah.
So what the community did was they just accepted it.
No. What? Don't say that. The community didn't do a thing. Somebody wrote something about it, and everybody jumped on it.
That's not what I read. Hold on. Let me just finish my statement. What I read was that it was wrongly categorized, and when it was corrected, they just accepted the film almost like as a joke.
How does a large group of people, based on how does a large demographic, let's put it this way, how does a large demographic together universally accept something? That's what everybody, that's the speak, that's the talk, that's what we say online now.
Well, going with your statement a minute ago, I'm sure somebody did write something that helped push it forward.
What happened was somebody ran with the joke and did their own creative cinematic critique and used film theory and criticism.
Well, that's bullshit.
No, but it's fun. I mean, I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I like doing that. I like talking.
The shit's just being made up.
Yeah, but that's what the whole point of film theory and criticism. I
get that.
Yeah. So, but somebody did it, and then people who aren't smart enough to get the joke argued, and then they defended, and then it blew up because it's the fucking internet. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, the gay community. No, the gay community didn't do shit. All right. It became a meme online or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and everybody either fell for it or ran with the joke.
Right.
That's it.
So I read a condensed version of there was a mistake and they went with it. Thank you for actually clarifying that and making a more broad statement. So
you know what? I'm sorry. It's just little things annoy me like that lately. Maybe I should be drinking right now. I'm sorry.
Well, if you want.
But
so anyway, the film at hand is The Babadook, and This is a psychological. I wouldn't even call it would you call it a psychological thriller? I guess you can. There's
Horror.
a lot.
Psychological horror.
It's a psychological horror film, and when you break it down, nothing.
I don't like the term thriller.
Okay. When you break it down all the way to its core, nothing is actually happening except a woman. And again, spoiler alert, just so we're all clear, a woman she is so depressed and lonely that it's all in her head. Now, you took that away from the film, right?
Yeah, no, that's definitely what it is. I mean,
it's psychologically. See, what happens is in the film, she is pregnant with the unborn child, and the husband is taking her to the hospital, and they get into a car crash, and he dies, and she has to live with that. And her child is born, and he's healthy, and he just is a reminder of that day or that night, always. And she cannot. Even though she loves this child, she cannot accept it fully. So she's gone off the deep end.
Well,
she is in a dark, dark place.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of elements of postpartum depression, and then there's survivor's guilt on top of not dealing well with the loss of the husband.
Yep.
All that's in there, and it's really just a great psychological horror film. And again, this is not really what Joey just said is not explained or told.
You have to figure it out.
It's not even like hinted at. Really,
there's a lot of little hidden gems in this.
What it does is there are like 2 or 3 main things and other little things that are sprinkled throughout. So the intelligent viewer catches on to this stuff and goes, wait, there's something else going on here.
Right.
And
just little things that I notice. Like, for instance, there's a scene in the movie where she finds a book. Okay, where the son finds the book, the Babadook.
And this is a big spoiler alert. Definitely.
This is a huge spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to go with it. So the son finds this book, the Babadook, and she starts to read this book, and
Kid's book.
And she starts reading this book, and the kid, of course, gets scared, so she has to read something else. Now, when you first see
hold on, but the book keeps coming back, and
the book keeps at one point she rips it up, and then it comes back all taped.
Right.
But there's a part in the film where she's at this princess party for her sister's daughter.
Oh.
And she's talking about, herself and what she used to do.
Well, hold on. Let's just set this. I mean, so much is in this filmmaking, too. She's sitting down. There's 2 or 3 other mothers standing over her, practically.
Pretty much. Yeah, that scene is designed to look that way.
And yeah, that's my point. And it's like, so she's already feeling insecure, and they're half paying attention to her. She's not even really there. And one of them asks her, "What do you do?" And she says, "Oh, I used to write and they cut her off.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even get the full sentence out. But if you're paying attention, it clicks. It's like, oh, she used to write children's books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, for me. That's the big hammer. I mean, everything else in the film is like, yeah, I think it's her. When that little thing they slip in there and don't even let it go all the way, then it's like that's the slap in the face.
What really, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it just because it's such a great film. What really hammers it home, too, that if you didn't think that, okay, maybe she wrote this book that her son found, it's in the house, what really hammers it home that she did is after she starts getting these weird phone calls, and there's the Babadook on the other end, she goes to the police station to report, that someone's calling her, that's stalking her, and she wants to do a restraining order, whatever, you have it. And you see her hands. She's got black charcoal all over her hands.
Right.
Because she finds this book all taped up with all new pages in it. Because there's a bunch of blank pages when she initially reads the book. And it's like, she's so fucked up, she didn't even realize she just drew new pages.
Right. I mean, but...
And later on in the film, and this is a huge spoiler alert, later on in the film where they end up in the basement and the son, she wakes up all tied up in the basement. And the son is telling her that, she needs to get rid of the Babadook and, you need to fight it and all that. And then she throws up this black, like viscous something. And then you figure it out later that it's probably pen ink or just some sort of ink that she just drank because she's so fucked up.
Well, I disagree with you on. I think that's part of the hallucination.
You think it's because it's all over her clothes, and you don't get the sense that the kid is not seeing it.
You're dealing with the whole film takes place from her point of view.
Yeah,
really. So technically, the film is an unreliable narrator. The film is showing us what she sees, or what's it's a device used often to fuck people up. Look at Fight Club, for example. It's not a great example, but there's one.
Because you know what? I think I would have to rewatch all of that to see if this ink gets on the kid in any way, because he's really close to her, helping her up and whatnot.
But there's so much going on that's hallucinatory with her too.
That is true.
Insects coming out of the wall and all that. So the house is changing around her in certain points.
Yeah.
But it's obviously projected.
Like the fact, during some of the scenes, the walls are cracking, and then of course the walls are fine. Like you said, with the bugs coming out of the wall, and then the wall is fine. So it's like, there is a lot of hallucinatory stuff in here, and it's all in her head. And
so this Babadook is it's her personifying this darkness within her that she's trying to fight, and it's summed up beautifully at the end.
Yeah, which the studios didn't want that ending.
I didn't hear that.
They wanted the fucking happy ending. They wanted her to kill the Babadook.
Oh,
and the director, it's a woman.
Of course, it's a woman.
The director is Jennifer Kent.
Meant that in a good way, mind you.
And it's her name is Jennifer Kent, and she's quoted as saying, "The studios tried to have me change the ending, literally almost until the end or the beginning of production." And she said, "Listen, I would rather not make the film at all if I have to change the ending." And she stuck to her guns, and they let her keep the ending.
Because it's a smart horror film.
Yeah, very smart. It's a
very
great,
smart.
Great movie.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stupid people out there.
Oh, my God.
So
I can't even. That's why I didn't read anything about it. I knew very little about it. And so when I watched it, I'm like, wow, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, holy shit, I love where this is going and what it's doing.
Yeah, dude, it's like Mother. As soon as I caught on that was being intentionally vague, I was like, I'm not even reading I'm not reading anything.
I didn't expect to read what I was going to read about it at all.
I've gotten really good at avoiding that shit.
How am I going to avoid it? It was on my Twitter feed by someone I didn't think was going to say something like that. You know who you are. You might not, though.
I probably don't.
No, it's someone that lives in your house. Not Holly.
Oh no, she didn't see Mother. Come on.
Somebody in your house saw Mother and made a tweet and kind of ruined it for me. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, the short one or the tall one?
The tall one.
Of course, it was her. Fucking art students.
And it's like, this movie should do horribly. I'll paraphrase. It should do horribly because it's a ripoff of this other movie. And I'm like, oh, come on. And even if, here's the thing, even if it's like not even remotely like that film, it's still going to ruin it for me because I'm going to be looking for all these things, and I'm already
done talking about it.
Yeah.
Don't even say anything else.
Yeah. It's just, I have to watch it now, and then by the end of it, I'm going to be like, God damn it. Saw that coming a mile away because I read that.
Well, here's a film I can't possibly ruin for you.
All right.
Leatherface.
You just saw that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Now, I can't ruin it for you. I honestly can't. What I can tell you is that it's not a bad film per se.
Right.
It's not really bad. The problem is, over the last decade, if there's one thing that's been like kind of hammered home for all these horror film reboots and remakes, pardon me, is that it's not good enough just to go back and like revisit these things. You have to bring something new to the table. That's,
Okay.
I mean, I just fucking did it again.
Where's this table?
You you have to give the audience something new. The Nightmare on Elm Street
To the
reboot
table.
failed to do that horribly. The Halloween
Still
reboot,
haven't seen the new the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. Still haven't
not
seen it yet.
not honestly barely worth it, except for the fact of Jack, what's his name, Jack Earl Haley.
Oh, Jackie Earl Haley. You know,
Yeah.
and the only thing from that because I flipping through channels, it was on. The only thing I saw before I changed it, because I said, I should watch it from the beginning, even though I hear it's not good. The only scene that I saw is this kid taking these fucking micro naps, where it's like he's sleeping for like a split second, and he just sees like Freddy's world, and then he snaps out of it because they're micro naps.
Yeah,
It's just like I'm like they're going there with that.
that believe me, that's the most interesting thing in that film.
Really?
Everything else, and again, it's the same movie. They took all the same scenes. They threw a little, and here's what they do too. All these reboots, they'll say, "Oh, we'll throw a twist in, so to surprise you." It's like for the Nightmare on Elm Street one, it's whether or not he was actually a child molester.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's not enough. Sorry.
And he's clearly a child molester in all the other films. Why would they change that?
Well, I think it was implied that he was falsely accused in the first film.
But
I'm not or at least he was never brought to trial, so no one ever really proved it. Anyway, I mean, the whole the Friday the 13th remake, all these things. Like the problem is they don't bring anything new.
Okay.
To this, so the Leatherface movie, very promising. Got the little kid in the pig head.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right. That is about as new as it gets. The only other new thing this film gives is that it kind of explains why Leatherface that we know doesn't talk.
Okay.
But is that worth an hour and a half?
No.
I don't know.
Certainly not.
The problem is, and now again, I think that this is, out of all the Chainsaw films, probably the most well-crafted, coherent, well-made of them.
Okay.
It's not a bad film. I think
it's probably not going to make any money either.
The storyline is okay. It's filmed well. It's got a nice sensibility to it. It's bloody. It's known Matthew McConaughey with the electronic leg. Don't get me wrong.
Oh God! I think the last time we did a bad movie day outdoors was right around this time, because we were doing it in October a lot because it was cool out. We were doing hot chocolate. It was just put a little bourbon in the hot chocolate, but we were doing it outside and it was great. It had that Halloween vibe to it, because it's October, and we it was great, and we showed that outside. And everybody fucking loved it.
So, other than like, other than like the prologue that gives us maybe 5-10 minutes tops of a prepubescent Leatherface, everything else in this film we've gotten from other Chainsaw films. You've got I got a small list here. Like first of all, like the title Leatherface,
right?
That's the title of the third Texas Chainsaw Massacre film.
That's right. It's Leatherface
they've already used,
3.
Yeah,
isn't it called Leatherface 3, the new chapter or something like that?
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it's Leatherface, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and then the tagline was the Saw's Family.
Oh, okay.
All right, but so they've already used the fucking title. So this isn't the first time we've said, "Hey, Leatherface."
Right.
Now, a lot of this film deals with like his upbringing in the family. We've seen the family dynamic in like almost every film. Really,
everyone.
Both paternal and maternal. We some more than others, but we've over and over again was like, oh, now we get to see what the family's like. We know what the family's like. They're fucking crazy. They eat people, and they're very protective of themselves, of each other. We know that.
Yep.
Now, Stephen Dorff.
Yeah, I heard he's in it.
Stephen. Now, first of all, talk about things that we've seen before. Stephen Dorff in a career-killing bad movie. Been there, done that.
Yep.
But
my God.
But he plays a half-crazy, revenge-driven sheriff seeking justice against the family.
Oh, great.
That's Dennis Hopper, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. We've seen this.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's it. Leatherface is a sympathetic anti-hero. The last Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one in 3D, they kind of did that with that. We've seen that before. This film actually reminded me of two Rob Zombie films. There's the first act takes place in an insane asylum for teenagers.
Okay.
And immediately I'm thinking Halloween.
And what was the other? Devil's Rejects?
Devil's Rejects because of the whole sheriff,
Sure.
looking into the abyss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got
Exactly. There's really nothing in this film that
William Forsythe played the detective in there, and I remember we were watching that, and at the end of the film, you just turned to me. He goes, "Did Zombie?" Near the end.
During the end. Yeah.
You just turned to me and go, "Is Zombie doing what I think he's fucking doing? Because it's fucking genius."
Yeah.
I remember that.
Almost makes up for Lords of Salem.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, you need to watch that this month. I'm telling you right now. If
Okay.
we're doing horror films and you're making me watch a Kevin Smith film, I'm not even challenging it to you. You just fucking watch that.
I will make sure to watch it for next week then.
All right. But so overall, and the film knows that doesn't have anything to offer because there's a second act twist that is like kind of like, oh, that's interesting for about 5, 10, 15 seconds, and then you're pissed because like because it was there's no point to it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
and I imagine this isn't any kind of a spoiler alert. If it's all the usual family members, none of them die because this is a prequel to just about everything.
Well, I mean, you can always add new family members.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like if they have different family members you don't recognize, and you know that they're on the to die list, so it's not really even a shock.
For me, the biggest tip of the hat is that they have Grandpa at the beginning with the hammer.
Oh, and I imagine because it's like, say, 20, 30 years earlier, he's got all his...
Yeah, he's not like... Yeah. And there's... and I didn't do any research in it, so I didn't read any interviews or anything, but there's his two older brothers, and I'm watching them, like, one of them has to be the hitchhiker from the first film, but they're not really... I didn't catch any clues that was true.
Okay.
But overall, the film just is. I want to say disappointing, but maybe just underwhelming is like the perfect word for it.
Okay. Yeah. Probably.
I think it's worth seeing because let's put it this way: if you've watched all the other Texas Chainsaw Massacres, you might as well watch this one.
Okay.
And the other thing that really annoyed me too is, ever since the first film, whenever they do these, I would say starting, even with the second one, there's always been this promise of, hey, we're going to get to know Leatherface more. And every time they say that, we spend 80% of the film following other idiots wandering around getting killed randomly, and we only spend like maybe 10, 20% of the time with Leatherface.
Right. No, you're right.
But now, could they create a film, a Texas Chainsaw film, where the lead character is the mute skin mask guy? I don't know. But
yeah, how do you do it? I mean, you're going to have all of these panning shots of the cinematic type shots where it's like you have to have the scene speak for him because he doesn't talk. I mean, is that even going to work?
It's a good question, but you know what? The only way to find out is to use some creativity and try something daring and different. So we're never going to find out.
Got it.
But
all right, so
not a bad film, but
my last film that I have to bring to the table is the 2009 film. Sat on a shelf for a couple of years, and God knows why. It was an amazing movie, Cabin in the Woods.
oh yeah,
We've never reviewed it. I don't even think we've even alluded to it much on the show. But it's an MGM produced film. MGM was having huge financial problems. That's why, ironically enough, Chris Hemsworth was in Cabin in the Woods, and he was also in, why can't I think of the title? The war film where the kids, Russia invades and all that. The fuck was it? John Milius directed it. It had Patrick Swayze and it had fucking C. Thomas Howell and Wolverines. What the fuck is the name of that movie? Can't even think of it.
No,
Red Dawn. Jesus Christ. Fuck.
Anyway,
both of those films were produced by MGM, and then both of those films, both starring Chris Hemsworth, sat on a shelf for years. I remember when the stock option, when I used to do HSX all the time, when the Red Dawn reboot...
HSX is Hollywood Stock Exchange, for those not in the know.
Yes, that's right. Scott and I used to do that religiously.
yes.
I don't do it at all anymore, even though I log in every once in a while. But if you don't play, you don't get paid. So I still only have a couple $100 million, which I turned into from $2 million. So I think you got even more than that, like $300 or $400 million, because you did it a lot longer than me after I quit.
Yeah, but I'm not good at picking things.
Yeah. Well, you were good enough. You made at least $100 million more than me.
Yeah, when I don't spend money on stocks, I make money.
They just collect an interest. So anyway, both of those movies sat on a shelf for a long time, and specifically Cabin in the Woods. And it was written by Joss Whedon. I believe it was written by Joss Whedon. Let me find out. Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard wrote the film. And it was filmed, it was done. I believe it was done sometime in early 2007. So they were filming in 2006 and they finished in 2007, or they filmed in the beginning of 2007 and finished filming in the first quarter. Or some shit like that. And then it just sat on a shelf for over 2 years. And then it was released and it made no money because it didn't get the proper bump. Actually, it came out in 2012. So the film, if I'm not mistaken, was done filming in 2008 or 2007. So it sat on a shelf for up to 3 or 4 years. That's fucking insane. I want to say that it was filmed in 2008 or 2009 and then it was released in 2012. I mean, that's fucking crazy. It sit on a shelf that long. And the only reason I think that it even was released was because Paranormal Activity sat on a shelf for almost the same amount of time, and then it made a shit ton of money. So they were probably thinking, well, let's take a chance.
Well, was Chris Hemsworth becoming more popular too? Didn't he do something before that gained a lot of attention?
I don't believe he had done Thor yet. I want to say that he did Thor the same year that this film was released. Or maybe this film was released because he was starting to get famous because
That's what I'm saying.
He did Thor. Maybe that's what it was. Because this came out in April of 2012.
And Thor came out 2011.
It came out 2011. So that's probably what pushed it through.
Yeah,
is
like,
that
oh,
Thor
shit.
was a huge hit and Chris Hemsworth was... And what's crazy about it is if you watch Thor, he's totally fucking ripped. And then you watch Cabin in the Woods, and he's skinny and he's in shape, but you
Nowhere
could
near
tell
Thor.
You could tell that this was made way before Thor was made.
Yeah, and thank God Thor. Even though the only good thing about the movie Thor is that it led to the release of Cabin in the Woods.
It's a great film. It's a great homage to a lot of different horror movies.
It's a smart horror
very
film.
smart. And I remember us shitting on the movie poster because the tagline. What was the tagline? It was something like "You think you know, but you don't," or something along those lines. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I think you were the one shitting on it. You think you know the story.
Yeah, you think you know the story.
Yeah. I think it was just you because I thought it was an interesting movie poster.
I liked the movie poster. I hated the tagline. Look, I mean, look at these other taglines. They're so much better. If you hear a strange sound outside, have sex. You know, they probably use that in Europe. If an old man warns you not to go there, make fun of him. Like, these are all homages. I mean, that's Friday the 13th right there. If you hear the strange noise, that's also Friday the 13th. Quiet abandoned property, sold. I mean,
quaint,
you know,
not quiet, quaint.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
If the basement door swings open, go down there. I mean, like, every time, it's like, why are you going down there? It's like, and when they do it in the movie, you know it's an homage, so you're okay with it because it's so smart.
Well, and here's the great thing. When I saw this film, it was at a drive-in during a double feature, and I had no idea what the second feature was.
Okay.
So, I mean, I went into this film blind enough where I didn't know what the movie was until the title came up. So the opening is them, like, the whole office situation.
Right.
And it's like great dialogue, you know, great scene, and then like cabin in the woods, like what the fuck is going on here? It's such a brilliant opening because it tells you everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It really, I just and I am still embarrassed to this day that I was enjoying the film so much, I didn't get the ending.
Oh really?
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I was having so much fun with the movie that at the very end with the whole thing with the gods, somebody else a week later said, like, I was talking about it. Said, Scott, you got the ending right? I said, what do you mean? Yeah, you know, the end of the world. Say, no, the gods, they're us. It's the whole horror film thing that, you know, appeasing the god. I'm like, I didn't get that. Oh, I felt so stupid. I was like, I just because. Even without that, it was, you know, it's like the Babadook.
Right.
Even if you don't get it, it's still a great film.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to get catch that part to enjoy it, but that makes it so much better. But I was so embarrassed. I was like, fuck, man, here I am like bragging about how I'm a smart film goer, and it's like, oh no, you're the gods, yeah, Lovecraft, right? No, jackass. No, great film all around.
No, great. And I don't want to even talk too much about it because that's a film I don't want to spoil.
Well, I gave away the ending just now.
You did, but you don't give away exactly what happened, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Now, with the Babadook, I don't mind spoiling the Babadook because if it helps me or helps us help you understand it more, you'll enjoy it more.
You know what? I think with the Babadook, us revealing that ending, which is why we said spoiler so many times, it really does kind of ruin the film to an extent. But
yeah, I guess if you don't figure it out on your own.
But the ending, but the ending with Cabin in the Woods, me saying that has really no effect on the movie at all.
None.
Except, not really. I really didn't spoil anything except, you know, the smart part.
You know what's funny? The credits are rolling for Galaxy of Terror, and it said second unit director James Cameron. Now I gotta find out if that's James Cameron.
That motherfucker.
I have to find out now. So now the movie's over.
Well, then
So now everyone gets to look at the background of my my computer.
I had a couple more films up my sleeve, but I can hold those off until next episode.
For next week? That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hold on, I gotta look this up. James fucking Cameron.
Trust me, they can wait. I'm not doing that right.
Trust me, they can wait.
Much better.
All right, James Cameron. Before I end the show, I have to. Miscellaneous Crew. Maybe he's in that. Maybe he was in Camera and Electrical. Art Department, Production, Cinematographer. Aliens of the Deep. This fucking twat.
You could have worked the other way, mind you.
What do you mean?
Find the credit in Galaxy of Terror and click on it.
Oh, you're right. That's probably better.
I'm gonna try to race you there now. Stay tuned as we race through the credits to
James Cameron. Production design by... It is fucking him! James Cameron, the fucking hack that he is, worked on Galaxy of Terror as a second unit director. Holy balls. It actually says production design by, but in the credits, unless he's got 2 credits where he did production design and second unit director.
Fuck him. By the way, is James Cameron the
Oh
one?
yeah, he does have 2 credits. Second unit director and production design.
James Cameron, is he the director that keeps talking shit about Wonder Woman?
Yep.
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck him sideways. Fuck him. You know, he has such a problem with women. You can tell when his ex-wife won the Oscar, and he's like, oh, well, you know, this year they gave it to a little film. Fuck you.
Yeah, and didn't he say something about it would have been better in 3D or some garbage like that?
Yeah. He says it's just like, oh, it would have been better in 3D. Yeah, your ass would be better in 3D. You fuck.
Yeah, you really want to feel, them diffusing these bombs in 3D. It's like it'll just make it better. Like, really?
Oh, God damn, fuck you.
And
I hate him
he's
so
currently
much.
in pre-production for Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5, all back to back to back to back.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay.
Super.
Oh, here. God damn him.
And you know it's going to make a shit ton of money, even though it's going to be almost 10 years removed from the last time he did the movie.
That's what they want.
Jesus Christ. Avatar came out when we almost pretty much the year we started this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the Avatar review, you know what? It was the same year we started this. Our first episode ever was in August, and then the ball started rolling for real on October 8th, 2009, which is only 3 days away. We saw Avatar in a theater in December of 2009, and it was episode 7 of this podcast. Almost 250 episodes ago.
And I remember I tried to be nice. Then we had to come back the next episode and say,
Yeah,
no,
you know what?
I'm not.
It sucks.
No, it fucking sucks horribly. I was just trying to be nice.
Yes, and then the internet lashed out at you for saying it was directed by Ridley Scott.
You know, you make one mistake. I'm only writing this thing like at 2 a.m.
But here's the thing. This is what people should understand. Whether it was directed by James Cameron or Ridley Scott, the point is still the same. You know what I mean? It could have been directed by anybody. The point is still the same. That the movie sucked balls.
Yeah. I mean...
So...
And really, as far as Ridley Scott goes, I mean, fuck him too.
Yeah.
The fuck, right. What's he done for me lately? Alien Covenant? Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, I guess if you watch that this month, you could bring that to the table.
I have to. I think I have to. Yeah.
Just bring it to the table.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm legitimate. I made The Martian. Shut up.
I like The Martian. No, the
Prometheus.
Martian's a
Prometheus.
good film. Fuck Prometheus.
Thank you. We'll get back on track there.
Okay. All right, let's cue in the music and let's get this show ended. This is episode 255 of Moviesucktastic, our Halloween edition. All month long, we're doing Halloween films. We're doing Halloween films all month. Please join us. Go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. You can listen to the show there. You can download the show there. You can tune in live with us every Thursday at 8 o'clock, which we highly recommend. You'll have a lot of fun with us. You can go to iTunes and you can download or listen to the show there as well. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic, and you can see when we go live, to movie trailers, to news, to just stuff that we post there that's movie related in some way. It always goes there. You can go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. And you can also leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. If you leave us voicemail, we'll play it on the show. You can leave us email. The address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you send us something, we'll read it on the show. And, get the app for your Android phone or Android device. It's 100% free. Highly recommend it. Everything I just said is in there. You can listen to the show right from the app, which is how a lot of people like to listen to the show. You can listen to it in your car. I mean, how cool is that?
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely get the Android app for your phone. or tablet or whatever device you're using Android-wise. Highly recommended. And that's my spiel. That about does it. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Who's the master?
Show enough. Shogun of Harlem. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Stay spooky.
Yeah, welcome home, cunt.
That should have been my final words.
Hey, we got it in there, so it worked out. All right, bye-bye.